What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host Vernon. This is Lake Mead. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, first off, let's start by explaining where I am. Technically, I'm at hole 33. I parked at the Pitchfork Cove parking lot at the top, and I started walking down to the water. But I am not at hole 33. That is 3 coves back, more to the west. So I walked a bit to the east. Not quite sure what this cove is called, but it's 1 or 2 coves over. And the main reason for doing so is I was looking for any fish, and I happened to find this cove where we have quite a lot of action. I seem to find quite a lot of bait fish in the area. I have 2 coves surrounding me where we have constant movement of the little bait fish. Unfortunately, hiking around, I did not bring my cast nets, so I cannot catch some of these bait fish and live line them out there. But that's why I'm going to be using some lures to see if I can imitate some of these bait fish, and hopefully we'll get some fish. Can already see some hits, but unless the rod is bending over, I know they don't have the hook, just stealing my baits. Even the smallest little striper will put a bend in the rod. Now I like coming to 33 hole, quite simple. It's close to Vegas on the one hand, on the other hand it's where the little Las Vegas Creek runs in. Fish are used to this area as a feeding area, and lots of people always fishing around, so more often than not you'll get some fish that know there are food around. Now that's why I wanted to fish in this particular area, and I figured, seeing as the fish were usually at hole 33, maybe they moved over a couple of coves. That's why I did the same. That's how I found all these little shad jumping around. But now we need to find the bigger fish. I'm thinking hopefully as the day progresses and gets a bit hotter, these shad will move up shallow to find some hiding space, bringing some of the bigger fish towards us. And there we go, landed our first fish for today, but again, very small tiny baby striper. So there we go, tiny little striper. This means the small stripers are in the area, and there are obviously some shad in the area. Now we just need to find the bigger fish. Hopefully they will come in to prey on these small guys. So not much I can do but rebait and hope for something a bit better than this little guy. I'm gonna release this guy, hopefully he'll get bigger. We can catch him next year. There he goes. And I didn't thought it can happen, but I think we actually caught a smaller little one. This one is on a piece of nightcrawler. I have some nightcrawlers left over. Put on the bottom hook a little nightcrawler, and we got a small striped bass. With them this small, almost Can't lip grip them, but at least we're catching something. I would like to catch something a bit bigger than this, but let's get this guy back into the water. And there he goes. So at the moment I'm throwing around a little Ned rig. I want to see if there's any largemouth bass or maybe some smallmouth bass in the area. I keep finding myself drawn towards this cove because I keep seeing the little shad jumping around, but have not seen any big fish yet. Well, if nothing else, at least we're getting the opportunity to use our baits. No way of taking these baits back home again, so at least we're getting some fish. It's not a complete waste. Let's get this fish back into the water. And there he goes. Alright, so I had a couple of hits on this rod and it went quiet. I tried to bring in to rebait, but it feels a bit strange. Wondering if we don't have another terrapin. Maybe caught another fisherman's line or something. And indeed, we caught an entire rod. Looks like a small child rod, but lots of junk in the water if we leave it there, so let's take it out. Alright guys, this was a bit better tug, but I'm still thinking quite a small fish. Bit bigger than the first few. Alright, so the batteries died. Don't know if that was recorded or not, but had a bit of a better tug. Landed this little striper. He's a bit bigger than the last few that I've caught, but still tiny little striper. Gonna get him back in the water. Gonna get him back in the water so he can grow up, so we can catch some better stripers. And there he goes. Don't know whether the camera could pick it up or not, but that fish actually had to get some air out of his gills before he could swim down to swim away, but he did so successfully and swam off nice. And again, tiny little striper. Starting to think there are only small fish in this cove. But I'm also watching the other fishermen that's out deeper. It doesn't seem like they're getting much action. So moving from this spot to try and find some deeper water, might lose some of the shad and some possible fish that may be in the area. So let's get this tiny guy back in the water. And there he goes. Alright, so I've been fishing on the inside of these coves. That's where I'm seeing the little shad. Now I caught a total of 15 small little stripers out there. And there's only so much small fish one man can catch. Don't want to catch any more small fish, so I'm moving out into a deeper part of the lake, casting out into deeper waters. Hopefully some of the bigger stripers will be out there. Gonna give it about an hour and a half. If nothing happens, I think we can call it for today. Oh wow, moved out into deeper water and I'm starting to catch smaller fish. This little striper is hooked on the outside of his jaw. Clearly he went for my baits but wasn't big enough to go for the entire bait. Let's get him back in the water. Alright, ladies and gents, I am extremely happy to find a place where I can see some bait fish around after heading out to many coves out on Lake Mead. I'm struggling to find bait fish, but it seems that no matter whether I'm inside the coves or fishing in the deep water outside, I tend to get small little stripers. That kind of tells me that there are no big fish patrolling these waters, or these small fish would all try and hide away. They won't be out in the open. Where this little mountain comes into the water, there's a little channel going through, heading out to the rest of Lake Mead. So this entire bay, this is the Las Vegas Bay area. You will find lots of little shad in these waters, but it seems that the bigger fish, they aren't in here. Maybe they're out in the big lake. Now, am I saying you're not going to catch big fish out here? No, I'm not saying that. It may be just because I'm fishing in the middle of the day that I'm not catching anything. So I think it's important to understand that I'm not going to stick in one spot. I need to go and find these fish. And on that note, I want to thank you guys for following me on this trip. If you enjoyed the video, please do give me a little thumbs up. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. Consider hitting the subscribe button and join my community if you haven't done that already. Alright guys, but thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.